Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to this week's Workshop Wednesday session. I am Prince Hobby. I am the Director of Business Development for Mentor Me Collective. And I see that we have everyone joining in. I am super excited to see so many individuals from Google Cloud Launchpad, Grow with Google, and even those who are just joining us and just learning about us at Mentor Me Collective. Today, we have a great host. We have a great session for those who are interested in cybersecurity, in addition to the cloud arena as well. I see so many of us have joined. Please let me know where are you all joining from. I would love to see some flags or posting where you are from. That would be great. As we welcome our host and welcome the next topic. Let's see, where are some people from? I see the Americas. Great. California's in the building. Okay. Ghana, we love it. Ghana. Love to see it. Philly is in the building as well. Alrighty. So now, everyone, I am going to welcome Gbemisola. Hello, Miss Gbemisola. How are you?
I'm good. Hello, Prince. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. It is amazing to have you. Again, I would love for you to introduce yourself, and then we will let you take over.
Okay, awesome. So, just as you heard from Prince, I'm Gbemisola Esho, and I'm speaking to you from Nigeria. I am I'm a technologist. I play in different fields. I'm a professional Google Cloud certified security engineer and have different other certifications. So I got into the cloud through Google's African Developers Scholarship. And from there, I've continued to security. Today, we're going to speak about cybersecurity and the cloud. What is cybersecurity and what is the cloud? So, our next slide. What is the cloud? Most of us will have heard the cloud, the cloud. Exactly what is the cloud? Is it the cloud in the sky or is it, what is it exactly? So the cloud is a solution that was brought about because of virtualization. You know, people decided that we wanted something more. Then the idea of the cloud came. So the cloud is basically having your services streamed over the internet with a demand, the pay as you go service. Excuse me. You have your services streamed over the internet with a pay as you go model. What are the services that you stream? Services like compute, services like networking, services like storage. But now it's done over the internet. The traditional method was, you have your on-prem servers right in the building, you have your storage, you have your database, you have all these things, your networking all in one place. But right now in the cloud, those services are streamed over the internet. That's what the cloud is all about. And you can have it as you want it. If you want just a certain level of, provision, the cloud provides you that. The cloud is able to expand and is able to compress. Next slide, please. Then we have cybersecurity. This is like almost, how would I say, it's on everybody's lips now. Everything is cybersecurity. Oh, keeping safe, online, digital. But what is cybersecurity really? Cybersecurity refers to the knowledge and the understanding of digital threats. Right now, we are in a digital world. The world has shrunk. Well, will I say shrunk? The world is now a digital village. So the way we have good people, we have bad people. And that is why you must be aware and understand their digital threats and their best practices to protect yourself and other people from cyber attacks. It recognizes the potential risks like phishing, scams, malware, data breaches, and a strong cybersecurity awareness culture within an organization among people tends to help you stay protected and secure in the digital environment. Please, the next slide. Just as I said earlier, this is a picture of our traditional security model, or as for a traditional security data center, or what we call on-prem. We had everything in one place. And the thing about it is that you wonder, okay, we have everything in one place. Why do we need the cloud? You need to understand that when you're buying your equipment, your hardware, there are certain specifications that it has been set to. So whether you use those or not, it is still there. And over time, a lot of companies found out that, excuse me, it seems as if I have a lot of waste, idle time and all that. We have capex, capex means capital expenditure. Expenditure was so high. Then why don't you migrate to the cloud? So that's why the cloud became so important. A lot of people wanted to save costs. A lot of people wanted to, just see what can we do better. So the traditional model that you had, which was on-prem in a place, had its advantages, but they had some disadvantages as well. Next slide, please. So I'm now trying to do a connection between the cloud and cybersecurity. Cybersecurity awareness is, as I said earlier, you should know that, okay, we're in a cyberspace, we're in a digital village, I'm good, he's good, but you don't know about the next person. So you need to be conscious. You need to be aware that, okay, not everybody's a good person. And it has to be constantly behind your mind. So what does that have to do with the cloud? What is the connection? Next slide, please. The connection is this. The cloud is a digital space. And because it's a digital space, you can be attacked. The most common form of attack is social engineering and phishing. You get an email saying, your account has been found to be non-compliant. Click this link so that we can update your your details. I can tell you that 80%, if not 90% of those kind of mails, you have people click it. Just like today, somebody sent a phishing link to me. And the link read, it was from a friend, you are on this website. I just almost clicked the link. Then I looked at it, excuse me. My friend has my phone number. My friend can speak to me on WhatsApp. Why is she talking to me on Telegram that she hardly goes to? She's an elderly, she's much older than me. Then I now said, okay, what website? Because I looked at the link and the link looked very suspicious. The person didn't answer. I now called my friend on WhatsApp. She didn't pick up her phone. And I called her on the mobile network. I said, did you send me a link? She said, no, I've been hacked. I said, oh, the person just sent me something. So let me block this person and see, very easily. If I did not think twice, I'll have clicked that link and I'll have been, one of those people too. So phishing, very, very, it's the most common thing. You find someone sending you something that looks like something a friend could have sent. But if you think about it carefully, you'll find out that, not quite. So then social engineering, this is the person, that one is more like, the person tries to get information from you in different ways, all these so-called surveys. Oh, you will win If you click this link, you win an iPad. Okay, what is your name? How old are you? What is the name of your pet? The person, it is called social engineering. The person is trying to get information from you that it will later use on one of these digital platforms to probably hack you. Then we, of course, know malware. Let me not say, of course, most of us know malware, where malicious actors send things that can, take over your systems and corrupt your systems. Then we have man in the middle. Man in the middle means somebody is listening to your conversation. And that happens most of the time when the conversation you're having or the platform you're using is not encrypted. Then we have SQL injection, we have password attacks. You have a password. You are logging into a platform and your password is 12345. Both of us know, or most of us know, that you are most likely to be hacked. Or your password is your first name and your surname. I don't really need much to brute force that. So we have password attacks where you have people trying different kinds of passwords to get into your bank account, to get into your email, to get into any other thing that is important to you. Then we have the insider threats. It could be somewhere you're working. There's somebody that is is upset. Sometimes, most of the time, is someone that's disgruntled, but sometimes it's just an innocent mistake. So those are the common cyber security attacks. And why? What does it have to do with the cloud? The cloud is in cyberspace. The cloud is a digital environment. So that's what it has to do with the cloud. Next slide, please. Then, of course, major, I just explained, I broke it down, what phishing is. You deceive the user for sensitive information. Malware includes viruses, trojans, ransomware. Those are different. There are different kinds of malware and they have different operations. The virus, the Trojan is the one that pretends as if it is something. It's an executable on your computer that pretends to be something that is from Microsoft. You click it and it takes over. Then the ransomware, from what the name suggests, ransomware. It is ransom. It takes your information, takes it ransom, and it demands, the threat actor demands a payment. Then the viruses are those that just jump on your computer and they just spread. Okay, we talked about social engineering, exploits human psychology. Most of the time, a way to identify social engineering always has to do with urgency. Click now, do this now. So those are the things you watch out for. Then we have the DDoS and the DOS attacks. When you overwhelm a system with so much traffic, what the threat actor does, or those behind it, is that, they gather so many computers and they start sending messages to a website to overwhelm it, to overflood it, so that it goes offline. And one of the things that I'll mention to you that is critical for, a system or an enterprise to be secure is that it falls within the CIA. It has confidentiality, it has integrity, and it has availability. So when the threat actor floods the website goes down and it's not available anymore. So that's one thing that the threat actor does with the DDoS or the DOS attack. Then, of course, the man in the middle intercepts your communications. We have the SQL injection. This happens most of the time on web applications and databases. Your SQL injection, you inject another character into the line of, is it the line of code, or into the system that changes what is there. And when it tweaks it, it now, when you query it, it brings out a result that is different. So they inject things into it to achieve their purposes. Then, of course, the password attacks, when you attempt to steal somebody's credentials. Next slide, please. Now, what is the intersection between the cloud and cybersecurity. With the background I've laid, or that was laid down or laid out, you understand that the cloud is different from the traditional setting. We all have the understanding, yes? So doing security for the cloud will not be the way you'll do security for the traditional setup, the on-prem setup, as I've explained already. There will be a difference because the cloud is in cyberspace. So as a result, the way you will protect the cloud will be different from the way you will protect your on-prem. Next slide, please. This is a typical cloud environment overview. And one of the things that we have in the cloud is that we share resources. You have shared resources in the cloud. Your VMs, your virtual machines, as you will get to know when we dive deeper a bit, and I share some other materials with you. Some of the resources that you could use in the cloud are VMs, they're called virtual machines. And some of those machines, you are able to share resources on those kind of machines. The cloud environment is interconnected. The services there are interconnected. Your network, your compute, storage, your database are interconnected. And of course, the services like compute, storage, networking interact. Then we have our databases, which are key components in the cloud. Next slide, please. Yes, I love this slide. I love the slide. With all this we've said, we have threat actors, but we also have protectors. So as a fan of Star Wars, I decide to say that cybersecurity professionals are Jedi cybersecurity knights. So the cybersecurity professionals protect against threat. They use knowledge to combat cyber attacks. They're like Jedi Knights defending the digital realm. That is our realm. Their skills safeguard systems and data. Next slide, please. Okay, so we've spoken about the cloud, cybersecurity, how the cloud is different because the cloud is virtual, how the cloud is protected differently. I want to mention something that Google Cloud, because I'm using Google Cloud as a case study now. Google Cloud has part of its security, gear, something called defense in depth. And exactly what is defense in depth? We have various components that come together as a protective, layer or protective layers in the cloud. So each layer is a defense and each layer is protected. Basically, in layman's language, that's what defense in depth. You will not come to application layer or come to endpoints and you meet it open. So what Google Cloud does is that it takes security into every layer that it has. So as a result, if you're trying to come into application, you want to come into a certain layer, you'll find out that, okay, there's something there. There's a wall there. Defense in depth is a concept that came out from the idea of a castle, the medieval castle. So I know when you're trying to, in the olden days, I love epics too. You're trying to lay siege on a castle. You find out that there are different forms of defense that whoever owns the castle has put up. So defense in depth is such a concept that, okay, the cloud, you want to break in, you're trying to go through the application, you're trying to go through the endpoints, you'll find out that Google Cloud has security baked into all these layers. Next slide, please. Explained now. It is just layered security protection. Excuse me, I meant to say protection against attacks. multiple security controls that provide redundancy. Defense in depth mitigates various threats, and it secures systems and sensitive data. That's what it does. Next slide, please. Okay, so those controls that we're talking about that are in Google Cloud are as follows. We have identity controls. You see, when you get into Google Cloud, the way things are arranged in Google Cloud, when you bring your workloads, you bring your stuff you want to put in Google Cloud, they are arranged as projects. So before you can access a project, you need to have authentication and authorization. Authentication is that you are trying to get into the environment, and the environment is trying to confirm that you are who you say you are. Then authorization is that you are trying to get into the environment. The cloud is trying to find out, can you do what you are trying to do? So those are various controls on the cloud. So this control now is an identity control, like the identity and access management is one of such. You can't just, people feel that, oh, the cloud is just one place. You can just jump in and just get there and just get out, and there are controls. You have identity controls. You need to prove that you are who you are and you can do what you can do. Then you have protective controls. Okay, so far so good. You've come in the cloud. Let me just say, like, the cloud is like, let me personify the cloud. And just looking at you, you're in now. What is this person trying to do? You have those controls, protective controls. Then you have network controls. The cloud has a lot to do with networking. One of the core of the cloud is networking. Your networking must be tight, must be solid, or else you'll have a lot of problems. Then you have your detective controls. Okay, you're in the cloud and you're just there. Then someone tries to get in or something. You have something there watching out. Then you have responsive, yes, and you have recovery. Next slide, please. Those securities that I talked about, this is just an explanation. What the identity does is it controls, it authenticates users for resource access. It authenticates users for resource access. You want to access the cloud, you want to access a resource. It has to authenticate you that this person or this, apart from person, this resource can access my environment. Then the protective controls, they shield against malicious attacks. We have the network controls, which protect access through network paths. The detective controls identify, when you have things that are not supposed to be there. The detective control identifies suspicious activities going on there. We have responsive controls that automate responses to events. When something happens, before it becomes an incident, we have something that responds to it. Then we have recovery, which controls and restores access after failures. Next slide, please. Normally, I should be able to expand this, but somehow, I'm sorry that it's so tiny. I normally expand it, but it's just the same thing that I spoke. And I got this slide from a very beautiful lady that I really admire. I used to work in Google Cloud. Her name is Priyanka. She has this beautiful, sketches that she did, doodles with Google Cloud, resources and everything. So I just grabbed that off. But it's pretty much the same thing about the controls, the detective, the responsive, the identity. Next slide, please. Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, yes. All right. So we talked about in general what controls we have. So I'm now talking about those resources that are in the cloud that actually do those things. And I said earlier, the identity and access management, which secures. We have the data loss prevention that protects, sensitive data. When you have your your PCI or any sensitive information in the cloud, we have resources in Google Cloud that, either there are different things it could do. It could shield, it could mask the data. It could, do some various things like substitution, so that the real figures or the real data is not showing. There are different methods that the data loss prevention protects sensitive data. Then we have the security command center. Just as the name suggests, it is the command center that monitors threats. It does threat intelligence and so much more. Then we have Cloud Armor. I just mentioned a few resources in the cloud, and you know what they do. We have Cloud Armor. I love Cloud Armor. It defends against DDoS. DDoS we mentioned earlier about, when the computer is flooding or is flooded, or a site is flooded with so much traffic. Cloud Armor is the protection in Google Cloud. Next slide, please. Okay, so we've talked about, defense in depth, resources. Now I want to talk about shared responsibility. We understand that the cloud is offered to you by a certain provider, and you are okay. And it's the certain provider is called the cloud provider, and you are the cloud user or customer. But whilst you're in the cloud, you don't leave everything for your cloud provider. You and the cloud provider have a responsibility in the cloud. So you, the customer, are responsible for your security in the cloud, and the cloud provider is responsible for the security of the cloud. What do I mean by that? Your security, patching, your configuration, you do it. So you're responsible for your environment. But all these things that the hardware is housed in, because yes, we said the cloud is virtual, but it has data centers that have machines that, all the services you see, they provision those services. They are the ones that carry out the services. So the hardware and everything, you find out that the cloud provider is responsible for that. The infrastructure, the cloud provider is responsible for that. So they're responsible for security of the cloud, while you are responsible for security in the cloud. So if there's a misconfiguration, that's on you. Next slide, please. We've talked about security in the cloud, cybersecurity, and security in the cloud, and the different controls. It still found out that with all these controls, it seemed as if that threat actors still found a way of getting into the cloud. And there was so much toil, especially for those who are, maybe they are SOC analysts, so much toil, so much to do. You're trying to figure out what is exactly going on in this place, and something comes up. Google Cloud now did something. They introduced AI, generative AI for security. AI and cloud security. AI has transformed threat detection and prevention. AI has enhanced timely threat detection in the cloud. AI-driven tools have strengthened Google Cloud defenses. Real-time threat identification and mitigation has always been the key. And with AI, Google Cloud has been able to achieve that. The very interesting thing about the use of AI in the cloud is that before the spread of the first infection, because of the speed and the ability, AI is all about data and compute. So it works like very fast. It's able to mop up the first infection. And that is what has helped security in the cloud. I'm not saying that AI is the almighty, but most of those that have deployed AI, especially in Google Cloud, have discovered that threat intelligence, incident response has suddenly become easier. Next slide, please. AI's threat detection prowess. AI, as I said earlier, can analyze vast data. That is one of the advantages about it. A SOC analyst is, of course, a human being. And at a point in time, toil sets in. But with AI, because it has the ability to analyze data, it does that in threat detection and in threat intelligence. The proactive defense reduces vulnerabilities because before it gets to the first spread, the power and the prowess of AI, all this predictive power, predictive, one of the things that you have the predictive analysis and all that. Those things have been harnessed and they've been able to reduce, vulnerabilities to the lowest. And AI can also detect hidden cybersecurity risks, in as much as that cybersecurity professionals are concerned that AI itself can become a problem, can become malware. We cannot remove the fact that it has detected hidden security risks that otherwise would have been hidden. Machine learning adapts to new attacks. That's another advantage. There's this problem of the zero-day attack or the zero patient that, it's a new thing that nobody knows about. But because of the adaptive nature of machine learning, that is a problem that it has been able to mitigate or curtail. Next slide, please. Okay, so I just have an image just showing when you optimize, when AI is optimized, the way vulnerability management can be enhanced. And if you look through, or if you look into or look at the image, you could see various things that AI has been able to do. In optimized vulnerability indicator of compromise, it has been able to do advanced hunting, then threat intelligence analysis and threat response. It has been able to, put up indicators, enrich indicators that have been able to automate threat response and incident response. Because AI is not a human being. It's not a human being. It just has been trained with certain data. So it doesn't need to start, okay, it merely picks up something that looks like it gets to work. And it's through its ability to go through so much data at the same time, it just works through and it's so fast. Next slide, please. Here's an image that I got of the Google Cloud Security site. And I love this image. Here we have narrowed down some of the most powerful tools. Let me exaggerate. Some very powerful tools that Google Cloud has been recently deployed for security in the cloud and for protection of your resources that you have with them in the cloud. We have been able, or they have been able to deploy Gemini for security. Gemini is not just for AI studios or we are looking for, we just want to generate images and all that. Gemini has been deployed in security. It has been empowered to defend and has been empowered to use Gen AI to defend your workloads that are in the cloud. We have the Security Command Center, which has been managing the risks in your environment. using AI, managing it. Then we have the median consultant. It's a subsidiary in Google. Google, is it Google or Google Cloud? And they bring with them a very robust background and experience in threat intelligence and threat hunting, all in one place in Google Cloud. Next slide, please. Okay, I just love this image, so I took it off. So advancing the art of AI-driven security is the goal that, as you've noticed, Google has been pursuing for the past how many years. Each time they announce new products in Google I/O, you'll find out that there's been an upgrade, a new resource, or something very interesting, all AI-based, that is helping you, whether it's in your web, it's in your cloud, all the services they have. But right now we are talking about AI-driven security. Next slide, please. And again, we're talking about the Google Cloud Security AI Workbench. There is a workbench for Google Cloud, and it's just for security services. You can see all the interconnected, services in there. And going on to that, I'm going to talk about the SecPalm. Next slide, please. What is the SecPalm exactly? What is the SecPalm? We have Google Cloud SecPalm. What is it exactly? You've been hearing of, this and that. All these kind of resources. I particularly like the SecPalm. Oh no, I think it's the slide before this one. Or is it not there? Okay, it's the same slide. I'm sorry. It's the same slide. I have it on the same slide. Yes, you're right. Just stay on that slide. I'm sorry about that. What is the SecPalm? What is the SecPalm really? SecPalm is the finely tuned Palm, the Palm, the Palm, the Palm API, the Google Palm API that has been fine-tuned for security. Generally, the Palm is, I hope you can still hear me. The Palm is a RESTful API that allows developers to access Google's Pathways language model. But right now, what Google Cloud did with SecPalm is that it was fine-tuned for security. So in short, what it does is that it just provides security services. It has been fine-tuned for security services. And one of the things about Palm is that it has been trained on massive data set, of text and code. But right now, SecPalm has been fine-tuned for security services. So in short, because it has been trained on massive data sets and it is now fine-tuned for security, the likelihood of threats or anything that is an anomaly to an environment to come up undetected or unrecognized is very slim. Let me go back again. The Palm is a large language model that has been trained on a massive data set of text and code and does a wide range of tasks. Now the Palm is fine-tuned for security. So I hope you understand that. Absolutely, that means that since it's fine-tuned for security, it has a large coverage area of what it can do, what it can detect, and what it can come up in the sense of protecting your data or identifying anomalies or stopping anything that wants to breach your security. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Can you hear me? Please, could you go to the next slide? Hi. Hello. Am I lost? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I wanted to just, I don't know how I'll do that. I think I probably have to share. I wanted to just go into the Google Cloud Skill Boost to show us some of the things that Google Cloud is offering, and of course, Mentor Me Collective is offering to educate you about, okay, to educate you about the Google Cloud. But I'll just go straight on to the next slide. Okay, then, thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. I appreciate your time. I'll be going on to question and answers. Will you read out the questions for me, please? Is that possible, Prince?
Yes, yes. Are you able to see me? Yes. So, Gbemisola, first of all, thank you so much for the insightful information regarding cybersecurity in the cloud. Thank you, everyone who is still with us, and those who have and will continue to join us. Right now, we are going to transition into questions and answers in the Q&A. So, if you have any questions that you would like for Gbemisola to answer or go over, please add them now. We have started a few questions. So we're going to take the last maybe 10 minutes or so, about 15 minutes, sorry. So to go over some of the questions that we had. So the first question that does pop up, we have this question here from the Learning Hub. What are your thoughts around best practices for securing AI related databases, i.e., vector and RAG, in the cloud?
Okay. Okay, so do you want me to answer the questions as they come, or do you want me to answer them all at a time?
Well, as they come, so they will be coming one at a time. I'll be showing them on the screen as well. So,
Okay, AI
are you able
related
to see this
databases.
question? Yes.
Oh, yeah, I can see the questions. My thoughts about best practice for securing AI related databases and vectors and RAG. Could you be more explicit about your question? Can you explain more? Does your question have a context in the sense that, I mean, what is the
So we'll
question
go.
really?
We'll come back to that question, so they'll be able to add some insight. The next is
Okay.
from Lovey. What is one of the biggest challenges in securing the cloud versus traditional on-prem and infrastructure?
Okay. Well, just as we said, it's the one of the biggest problems is there are a lot of problems really, but the most prominent challenges that's what I know is misconfiguration. Like when you're in the cloud and you have a misconfiguration, it does a lot of things. It opens up the cloud to easy penetration, malicious actors getting easier, and it could cost a lot, even the cloud provider's reputation, if peradventure there's a data breach and you know and the cloud, the customer loses their data or their data is compromised. And, there's a lot that will just go on down that line. But one of the greatest problem is data breaches. And most of the time you'll find out it could be misconfiguration of, in the cloud. So that's a great problem that, you could have in the cloud. Data breaches, basically, is one of the biggest challenges. Um, and that is when when you don't configure properly. So that was the biggest challenges in securing the cloud is when people do not do what they're supposed to do right in the cloud. But the on-prem, as in if you misconfigure, the person has to basically have to break into your system and the person cannot access it from outside. So the big challenge in securing the cloud is that if your endpoints, if you're exposed, if your endpoints are opened, there are a lot. There are just a lot, but the one that comes to my mind is that if you don't secure, is back to what I'm saying, shared responsibility. If somebody on his part does not do his part, does not play his part, you could have that challenge, which is misconfiguration. Did I answer
Makes
your question?
Makes total sense. Yes, I think that definitely provided some additional insight. If it has not, please ask additional questions or ask for additional clarity so that we can definitely make sure we're answering the questions. The next is from Mr. Singh. Wanted to ask, how do you handle
Oh,
vendor risk when your cloud environment depends on third-party SaaS integration? That's a great question.
now that's a very good question. That's one thing that the cloud I wanted to say cloud provider, but one of this very important as the person in charge, maybe the cloud engineer or the cloud architect needs to understand. There's risk management in the cloud, there's risk assessment in the cloud. So if you have a vendor that brings risk to your cloud, how will you handle the vendor's risk? Okay, so with any vendor that you bring on, I believe you have a contract with the vendor. And I believe probably you have service level agreements. So those things should be captured in those things, apart from your risk assessment and your risk management strategies you put in place. If you have strategies and agreements you put in place, those should be able to cover, the vendor's risk.
Thank
Yes,
you for
Mr. Singh,
that.
did you get that? When anytime you want to bring up or bring anybody into your environment, you should have a contract, you should have a service level agreement, and you should have a risk assessment, objectives, strategy, policy in place. So if you do have those things, they should be able to cover that. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Another question from Lawless. For GovTech IT, why do you think there is such a hesitation for data migration?
Oh well, I'm not. I'm not really sure, but because the cloud is novel to some, and when you don't understand, you have some reservation about it. There could be an hesitation for data migration, all because of the same challenges of being in the cloud and getting your data is not protected, or there's a breach and all that. So they feel that being on-prem is more secure. So it could be that, or probably they feel that they don't have enough professionals that can handle it, or they have issues that there could be compliance. There are various reasons. With data, there are different compliance provisions. For example, if you're in the EU, you know that in the EU, and there's this problem of data residency and all those things. So there's a possibility that, they're thinking along those lines. I really can't say what they're thinking, but it could be different. It could be technical issues. It could be legal issues. It could compliance issues. And it could just be they don't like it. So that's probably why they're hesitating. I don't know, really. But it could be
Listen,
one of those
that
reasons.
last answer is probably the most. um, but thank you for that. The next question we have from Tenzin on our LinkedIn channel: what is the most overlooked vulnerability in Google Cloud environments for now, or if there is any?
Definitely, I would definitely not tell you that, would I? I don't want Google Cloud to come after me. I don't think it's best practice to reveal vulnerabilities. So I'm not. I would. I'm sorry. That question.
Understand. Understand.
Maybe if Sonda was the one speaking, you could ask him, but not me. But it's best not best practice to reveal vulnerabilities. But every cloud will have its vulnerability, definitely, But I won't say.
No, I
I'm
understand.
not sure. I
We
will.
definitely understand. The next question. So the next question: what mistakes or risk an organization should avoid when migrating Google Cloud?
Okay. I think the mistakes you should not make is that trying to migrate to Google Cloud without having a professional do it for you. I think that's one mistake you shouldn't make. I mean, if you want to migrate to the cloud, some people think, okay, it's just a lift and shift. Yes, in some cases it could be lift and shift, but you must be conscious of the different the implications that are before you. So as a result, you should be compliant to those things. And this question is a broad question, but if I narrow it down to your organization, what does your organization do? Is your organization a health provider? If your organization is a health provider, you should be aware there are some regulations about health. Is it a financial organization? You should be aware of all those kind of things so you avoid those kind of mistakes. Apart from the technical issues, you should be aware of the compliance issues, because most of the time in the cloud, you'll discover that it's not the technical issues that normally gets, blown up or get people, it's the compliance. So it depends on what kind of organization you are. You need to look at what are the guidelines concerning my organization if I'm migrating to the cloud. That question is not it's not, you can apply to all organizations, because you migrating to the cloud depends on your organization, and what you do will determine how you migrate to the cloud.
Makes complete sense. Thank you for that. Next question from Kat. Any suggestions on where to learn more about cybersecurity?
Oh yes, you could come to Google Cloud and do there are various there are various courses. There's a new course they released on cloud cybersecurity. It's on Coursera. It's on the Google Cloud Boost. Then you could, of course, go through further and do the professional security certification. Then there are a lot of bodies that are out there you could learn cybersecurity from. You have ISC Square, you have GIAC, a number of them, but you could start, of course, in Google Cloud.
Yes, and if you have not, you should definitely apply for the next Google Cloud Launchpad program being offered by Mentor Me Collective. So our next question, what are some common cloud misconfigurations you have seen that have led to security breaches? Oh, that's a
Okay,
great question.
the most common cloud misconfigurations, most of the time, you will find them in your, most of the time, I didn't say all the time, in your identity and access management. When you do not provision the correct or the right identities, or provisions the right, how will I say it? No, authorities, the right, what's the word? Slip my mind. But when you are in that place, there is some, let me break it down in layman's language. Authorization, you give the wrong authorizations to, there's this thing, because we have limited time, there's this thing called least privilege that applies, that you cannot give, a certain resource or certain person an amount of power. There should be like a checkmate. That's what I'm trying. That's not exactly what it is, but I'm breaking it down. So a cloud misconfiguration, the most common is in identity and access management. When you give authorization to somebody or to a resource that you shouldn't. Authorization they do not need. And as a result, okay, let me give you a good example. There's a certain fellow that has worked in your organization for a long time. So as a result, he has participated in a lot of projects. He has authorization for this project, for that project. And over the years, he now has so much, authorization in different projects, and nobody noticed. That is a good example of misconfiguration, because with the least privilege, once the project is over, it should be taken, not taken away, not that, oh, you take it away, but it should be adjusted. So if it has so much, so much power, this could lead to a threat, in the sense that it could lead to a breach. It could lead to a breach. Let me just leave it as that. That's one problem. Another problem is, like, let me see your database now. Let me use a database example. The database is something that should not be open to endpoints, in the sense that it should be in private subnets. If you peradventure put it in a public subnet, that could be, so someone can just come and have access to your database. There are various misconfigurations that, someone could do. A good example, like, let me just do the database, you put it in a public place. Someone will be able to access information in that database, and, that will breach. That is a breach. That's one good example. And that has happened many times. You find out that, oh, you have access, someone goes online, and suddenly they have access to people's information, and they leak it online. That's a classic example of what happened. The person that leaked the information had access to a database, or had access to where other people's information were that he shouldn't have. So a classic example is that one. That one I've seen. And you can see that in, oh no, let me not mention the names of people. That's a classic example. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Just wanted to be conscious of time. We do have a few more questions. Are you able to stay on a bit longer to answer the additional questions?
Oh, no problem.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So the next question that we have is from Cherie. How would you proactively ensure AI security agents stay aligned, ethical, and resilient against adversarial manipulation or being compromised? That is a great question.
No. Yes, a good question. And this is something that Google Cloud, or Google prides himself, prides, is it herself or itself for? It's all about ethical AI, and it's still back to security. If you bake security into every layer, Google Cloud, prides itself as baking security into every layer of what it does. So now, when it comes to your security agents, your LLM, your large language models, when you're training your data, when you're from the very process of, gathering data, putting in your data, training your data, each step of the way, do you have precautions? Do you have, is it a standard operation in your organization that you have security measures put in place? That is how you're proactively ensure that your security agents stay aligned, by putting measures in. AI safety, is it optional, or is it a priority? And with that mindset, if you have security behind you in your mindset when you do these things, that's an easy way of, ensuring that your agents are aligned and they're ethical. There are some things that I noticed, because I'm sorry, I'm just like that. I'll just try, there's some things that um, perhaps you ask, is it Gemini? Gemini will not answer you, will not say, I'm sorry, I don't understand something, because it has some specific keywords in it that most likely whoever trained it has said that this. I've noticed that. And those are precautions that I'm sure they put in place. So if security is baked into your thoughts from your development circle, your whole development circle, the likelihood of your security agent staying aligned, ethical, and resilient against adversarial manipulation is high. And there's something um, that they do, Google Cloud, well, not Google Cloud, but Google does. I remember that I participated in it. It was an adversarial kind of competition. It was called Nibla. So they do those kind of things to check, when you put in this word, what comes out, what does it generate, and that sort of thing. So they have those kind of things to do, those kind of checks. Then, of course, the developmental cycle, I said AI, I'm sorry, security measures are put in place to ensure that the AI remains ethical, remains safe, and aligned. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I wanted to jump into another question that kind of ties into it. Holbert from our YouTube track and channel said, is there a risk that AI-based security tools might misinterpret some of the workflows as suspicious, right? Being that there is a lot of automation going on within analytics. So I guess the question is more or less, do you see there being a risk that
Oh,
AI
yes.
misinterprets some of these?
Yes, totally. And that's one of the reasons cybersecurity professionals, a lot of them are just coming into AI for, cybersecurity or for threat intelligence, or, because of this same question that is asked about the possibility of AI, the false positives or the AI itself being the malware. Yes, there's a risk of that. That is why we have things like PalmSec that's been fine-tuned with security or for security. Those kind of things help in this sort of thing that you are asking for, because it has been fine-tuned. It has been fine-tuned to a certain way, so it will most likely, have more accuracy than just you know, the normal things that you use. Fine tuning is one way that can, mitigate the risk, because that possibility and that risk is true and it's high. It's not a medium risk, it's a high risk. But when you have things like fine tuning, that will help.
Great answer. Thank you for that. Some of you are asking very similar questions. So we, just for the sake of time, I'm going to just make sure that we answer questions that have been asked sort of multiple different ways. But the next question that we have is, how is machine learning able to adapt to new attacks and prevent them?
Oh, well, how? That's what machine learning. It's able to do that because it's machine learning. There's the different and I don't want to say different aspects. There's trained and there's untrained. Supervised and unsupervised. So machine learning is able to adapt because of the characteristics. It learns on the go, so that's why it's adaptable. Let me just put it that way in layman's language. It learns on the go. There's unsupervised and there's supervised, and
Makes
those
total
two,
sense.
yes.
The next question that we do have is from Griffith. How do you deal with AI hallucination in this context, right? Is there a lot of context engineering involved?
AI hallucination is it's a big problem. Actually, it's a big problem. And how do I deal with AI in this context? In which context? Is there a lot of context engineering involved? In what context, please?
I guess in
I'm kind of
regards
lost.
to in regards to cloud cybersecurity, right? Like,
Okay. Okay, if
how
it
would you
can throw
connect that?
out oh yeah, that's part of what it's still one and the same thing about security tooling and security fine tuning. when something is fine-tuned, the likelihood of hallucinating is lower. So that's why I said that with Google Cloud, you have the services, then you have a security workbench that has workflows that has been, fine-tuned for security. It's still the palm technology, you understand, but it's fine-tuned for security. So that fine-tuning itself helps in all those kind of things. False positives arise from problems in training, but fine-tuning will help with that.
Great question. And we have a question from Yorick from our LinkedIn source. With the two most common attacks / vulnerabilities you mentioned previously, phishing and social engineering, is it acceptable to phish your own employees as a training exercise?
Yes, it's acceptable. It's a training exercise after all. One of the greatest things that could help phishing and social engineering is training. It's part of cybersecurity awareness. You need to train your staff. So it's, at least to me, it's acceptable, and it's something that is done anyway. When you train them, they are more conscious about it. And, the IT department most likely will not tell you that, oh, we're going to, because everybody will be on their toes. So this is a good way of even protecting your organization by training them. Yes, it's within, I mean, it's okay. It's quite fine. I don't want to say more than that, but you are correct.
Alrighty. And lastly, we have a question from Kritika. I want to make sure I pronounce that correctly. With more patient data being stored in the cloud and AI being used for things like diagnosis and paperwork, what's the biggest cybersecurity risk you think is related to that realm?
Okay, with more data being stored in the cloud and AI being used for things like diagnostic. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, what could be the biggest risk in that? AI is for diagnosis and paperwork. What's the biggest security risk with that? Well, the biggest security risk is always data breaching. That's the biggest security risk. But then you have protection. Your data, especially health data and financial data, and depending on the region that has the data, are well protected. And the data in the cloud is not left in plain text. The data has, one of the things that Google Cloud has for data-less protection is that it doesn't store your data as it is. And there's something I want to say that some people don't realize, that apart from the other means that, your data is protected by obfuscating, by masking, by anonymizing, all those things. There's also encryption. There's also the key management system that runs in Google Cloud. I can't say all this at one time. And you are aware that, or you may not be aware that, even the security engineer or architect or the Google staff cannot access your data without your permission. So most likely, for me, the biggest risk is still the breach. But how it is breached is now another thing, because there are different protection layers there and different resources that have been there to protect your data. And because, okay, you said AI, your data being stored in the cloud and AI being used. AI does not run rogue or run randomly in the cloud like that. As much as people are trying to make us believe, oh my God, AI is in that system. That system is not safe. There are other safeguards that your data has. They are different. For your data to be breached by the AI or breached by somebody, it happens because those resources, they themselves have been breached. So what could be the greatest risk is still the breaching of your data. And for that to happen, it's a long rope. I don't have to say it in words. I don't have to say it because I'm just trying to imagine that, okay, AI breached your data. It has to be that something was already wrong before the AI could breach it. Yes, that's what I'm trying to get to. For it to breach it, or for it to become risky, for your data to be exposed, is because something else had already happened. Your key exchange, you used the key that was not secure, or you did something, or this still same misconfiguration, or your data was not labeled. AI cannot just breach it like that. So that question is a very tricky question, in the sense that, yes, you have your patient's data in the cloud. Yes, you have AI that you're using, but your data is not exposed till something happens, either from your side or from the cloud provider side, before AI can get to it. It's not that easy.
Makes complete sense.
And if
Thank you
you
for that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying that, and if she wants to ask more, no, she's not satisfied, I would allow you to do that. I'm just trying to make you understand that, okay, we have AI based security in the cloud, or we have AI, tuned with security, or have AI security. But with even with AI security, there's other security securing your data. You have your keys, you have your that which is encryption, you have your data protection resources there, plus the AI. So just like what I was saying, defense in depth, there are other guardrails there apart from the AI.
Thank you for that. She definitely stated that you answered it. So thank you. But it was one last question. I think is really something that most people want to know as well. Is how might cybersecurity change as we move into a world? I would even expand this from smart devices, right? Let's say move into a world that's more automated, right? AI assisted. In addition into different agentic type of tools, like how do you see the cyber world sort of changing within that?
Okay, how might the cybersecurity change as we move the world full of smart devices? Are you talking about IoT? IoT is already existing. How will it change? Well, well, we know the answer. There are more breaches. There is more opportunity for threat actors to act, because we're not conscious. This question is something that along the line that I spoke, I had a conversation with someone about it. How cybersecurity can change with this new move is that we have more breaches through those IoT devices, in the sense that you most likely will not patch your fish tank or your cooker. I'm sure of that, because the hardware themselves have some already have some fault in it. And because we're not conscious of that, someone can actually get into your system through your smart devices. It connects your smart device, gets into your Wi-Fi, then into your system. So there are more breaches. That's what will happen. Cybersecurity has already changed with the incoming of IoT, because IoT itself is problematic because of the endpoints that are most of the time exposed. So with IoT coming in, cybersecurity has changed through the increase of threat actors getting into cyberspace through those devices. So that's how it has changed.
Thank you for that. So, Gbemisola, listen, it was a pleasure speaking with you. It was a pleasure listening to your experience as well as your advice and tips into the cybersecurity and cloud realm. Everyone, if we can just give Gbemisola a thank you in the comments. Let's see some emojis. We truly, truly thank you for your time. and an amazing session. Right now, you can drop. We will definitely be in connection with you in the future. Okay. But you enjoy and have a great rest of your day and weekend, as we are in a bit.
Yes, yes.
But
Thank you.
it was definitely a pleasure chatting with you.
Yes, it was nice being on the call. Thank you.
No
Bye.
problem. Have a good one. Alrighty, everyone who has stayed, we thank you for staying the extra 17 minutes. This has been an amazing session. Please be in attendance for next week. We have an amazing Workshop Wednesday session for next week, same time, 6 p.m. Until then, everyone have a great evening or day, depending on where you are. And thank you for attending.